Greetings, Taurus and Taurus rising. This is your Western forecast for January 2025. In my yearly forecast, I was discussing the 4 outer planets changing signs, creating this great paradigm shift, but it will take till June, especially July and August, for all 4 of those outer planets to have shifted into a new sign. So there's a lot of transitional energy that I discussed. But because I didn't want to overload you with more information and more confusion, I was going to wait till the monthly forecast to introduce the karmic north node is also changing signs in January and moving into Pisces. And the karmic north node goes from sign to sign about every year and a half. It takes nearly 18 to 19 years to go through the entire cycle around your horoscope. And the karmic north node starts to awaken more purpose and growth as it's bringing in also a lot of karmic lessons. Now, before I talk about the karmic north node going into Pisces in your 11th house, so that's the beginning of all this major shifting, I always like to start every month with where is the new moon. December the 30th, the new moon is in Capricorn, an earth sign compatible with Taurus. And Capricorn is 9 signs past Taurus. So where your priorities, what you're more interested in, what's more activity is putting a spotlight on 9th house issues. Going back to school, teaching, publishing, marketing. That could be an online business where you're like, or podcasts, getting information out to the world or learning how to do it. That's all that 9th house. But also long distance traveling. And the 9th house can sometimes trigger legal matters. But the Capricorn energy is bringing more favorable energy to your side. Now, before I go further with what's happening on a more mundane level, and then we'll get to that more karmic north node in Pisces. If you enjoy these kinds of videos and would like to see more of them, click like and subscribe. And don't forget to click on the notification bell so you can receive the latest postings. All right, 2 weeks after the new moon is a full moon. The full moon brings a lot of matters that were started with the new moon and brings to light to see what's working, what's not working. Anything that's been hidden can also be revealed with the full moon. In general, it can test all kinds of relationships. This full moon will be in Cancer, because that's the opposite of the new moon in Capricorn, around January the 13th. But we gotta be careful with this full moon because it's in Cancer and it's being influenced, impacted by a retrograde, frustrated Mars. That frustrated Mars with the full moon could trigger a lot of anger, stress, irritability. Now, it is falling in your 3rd house, because it's opposite the Capricorn, which I said was in the 9th house. The 3rd house is opposite the 9th house. That's what we call the 3rd house, 9th house axis in the chart that has a lot to do with ideas and communications and traveling, selling. It's a real mental, intellectual part of the chart. But in the 3rd house, there could be a lot of unexpected stress and anger with the 3rd house. Now, in the personal level, the 3rd house deals with siblings. And if there's anything has been on the back burner here, some resentments with siblings, that could all blow up. But maybe to clear the air. The third house could be meetings, interviews, where there might be, again, this anger. Got to be careful of accidents. The third house is also with communications. It also in the domain of transportation. And so you have to look at your individual chart, but you want to be paying a lot of attention, because you know how anger can distract you, and with Mars can rule violence, pain, anger, accidents, and it's frustrated because it's retrograde and it's all being blown wide open with a full moon. So around January the 12th, especially on the 13th, the 14th, just be very careful if you're in meetings, if you're fighting with your siblings, if you're driving and it's late at night and you're really tired, or God forbid you're drinking. You wouldn't want to do that because you could get caught and then you'd be really angry. So that's all around the 13th. So the Mars, I talked about how Mars goes retrograde every 2 years. It went retrograde December the 6th and till February the 23rd. But it's starting in Leo, but in January the 6th, it's retrograding or moving back into the sign of Cancer. So it's in Cancer in your third house. So all those third house issues are going to be kind of frustrated and anxious provoking. January the 6th till February the 23rd, the whole time it's retrograded and more frustrated. After February the 23rd, it's moving forwards, releasing all this pent-up energy, but remaining in your third house till April the 17th. One of the things, so the first 3.5 months of 2025, that ambitious, assertive Mars, the first month and a half might be more sluggish and delayed because of the retrograde, but the first 3.5 months, that ambitious, goal-oriented Mars is in the third house. And some of the positive things of the third house, because you can always, if you understand astrology and what's going on in your chart, if you're seeing a transit that could be causing you to be really nervous and worried, well then figure out what are the positive goals of that sector, and then really try to focus on the positive. The positive of the third house could be learning new job skills or learning new technology to help your job. The third house is sales. You might be trying to set up some marketing, some sales with an online business as one example, and it may be slow to get going the first month and a half, and then after that you're really pushing hard with the sales. The third house could be a lot of meetings. So if you're doing interviews or interviewing people or doing a lot of sales meetings, this could be a very busy time. All right, so the karmic north node goes into Pisces, which on one hand, it amplifies, the karmic north node amplifies whatever sign and house or planet. So let's break it down. So it's in Pisces for the first time in almost 19 years, 18 to 19 years, and it's going to be there for a year and a half, starting right at the beginning of January 2025. Pisces is creative, compassionate, romantic, charitable, spiritual, and that karmic north node on one hand and wants to amplify those themes. It can amplify tremendous creative talent, or this spiritual or very romantic with Pisces. Now, it's in the 11th house. Excuse me. The 11th house from January 2025 till about July 2026, so it's that year and a half. The 11th house on a personal level is friendships, but it can expand more to community, group activities, organizations. So the karmic north node could be bringing in some very karmic new social friendship relationships. Venus is the planet associated with Taurus. So Venus is always an important planet for you. Venus goes from sign to sign, usually, unless it retrogrades, which it will on March the 1st. But Venus, ruler of Taurus, is going to be in Pisces for the month of January, and in the 11th house. Venus is exalted in Pisces, so it wants to give its best with the 11th house. One of the things, the 11th house deals with your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations, where you're having these strong desires. This could be a very social time, or certainly working in a group setting, teamwork, collaboration with others, especially, and it would be very friendly and cooperative with Venus, and or with Venus, it could be very creative. And that karmic north node is also amplifying not just the qualities of Pisces, but for the month of January, it's amplifying Venus. So in the 11th house, which could be the group activities or really looking at the long-range goals and aspirations, but it's amplifying Venus. Unconditional love can be an intensely romantic time, and Tauruses are very sensual signs. It can really amplify charity. With the 11th house, you may get more involved with a spiritual, that's Pisces, spiritual group. And one last thing, January the 19th, the sun leaves Capricorn and goes into Aquarius, into your 10th house of career matters. But the Capricorn theme is still the dominant issue through the end of January. But starting January the 19th, there's a new interest. It doesn't become more dominant till the beginning of February, but you're starting to think about or entertain the sun. It's putting a spotlight on the 10th house of business and career. Now, that could be all that Mars in the 3rd house of interviews and selling and learning. Even the 9th house of the Capricorn could be putting a real emphasis on higher education or publishing or online business. Getting to the Mars in the 3rd could be a lot of selling. And so the Capricorn could be more focused on setting all of this up and learning. But then when we get to the last week, the sun in Aquarius is now you're starting to how to put all this together and make money and create a business out of all these new ideas. I want to thank you for watching. If you like information on how to book an astrology reading or to check out my 2-question offer, visit my website at gardino.co. That's .co. Until next month, be safe and well.